Okay, good afternoon, good morning. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. I think this will be a cool meeting. Jawad is going to be leading an interactive setup of the GSOC admin portal with accompanying comments, I believe. So it'll be great to get everybody's feedback on that. I think we will start though with our kind of traditional going around the horn and see if anybody has any updates for the group. So, in the order that people appear on my screen, we're gonna kick off with Indiana. Alan, do you want to?
Nothing urgent. I'll save mine for next month, just in the interest of time.
Oh, nothing, no highlights. Um, okay. Well, then we'll go to data for common good with Luca.
Nothing worth of note on this side either.
All right, we're still going to go to everybody, so somebody's going to have to give an update here. But thanks everybody. Um, Gordon for Australia.
Yes, so we launched a new Gen3 for in the test environment for the biological psychiatry omics data in the test environment. Yeah, that's all.
So not yet production.
No. It's just a brand new project that we started. So
Exciting.
yeah.
Thanks for. I think it's the earliest for you, so I appreciate you joining. Um, then Carvin for Auckland. Do you want to give an update?
Uh, yeah, a little update. Yes, in the last month, I mentioned that we use 3V to scanning the 3V operator to scan the Gen3 images. Yeah, the vulnerabilities of the images. And then in the last week, we try to use some because there are hundreds of reports and how to analyze it.
Uh-huh.
Last week we use a cloud, yeah, to analyze it and to have some summary of the vulnerabilities. Yeah, and yeah, some critical CVEs need to have a look. I think, yeah. Mm, that's and that some of the compliance report from the image also I suggest we can have a look. Yeah, that's my update. Mm.
Have you shared any of those with our team yet? Like we're happy to maybe help
Not
think through any of those that are critical or otherwise with you.
yeah, okay. This is the markdown file of the summary
Oh, well, I
generated
don't know if we can
by
do it on during this call right now, but I want to
yeah.
make sure that you don't just spin on your own on those since we do our.
Okay, no problem. I will send it to you because last month we get too many reports. I don't know how to read it one by one, and then I find another way to analyze it and get some summary. I think it's readable and
Mhm.
available to handle it. Okay, I will share with you firstly. Okay.
Okay, thank you. And Matt, you're also at Auckland, right? I'm just making sure I have
I
everybody else.
am, yeah. I've been overseas for several months and just sort of emerging into the living. I'm probably going to be watching with great interest, but yeah, especially following the things Carvin has been doing with the trivia operator, quite interesting.
Okay, thanks. Uh, and then finally on the list is Stefan for OCC. Do you have any updates for the group?
Not a ton. Basically, what the Gen 3 infrastructure stuff is, we're focusing on other things right now. But also, thanks to the Australia group, we were able to send us REMS, the code that they use to work with REMS. So I'm going to be looking at that at some point in the future, probably pretty soon, and basically see if we can set something up to integrate REMS with Gen 3 in the same way, in a similar way that they did.
Great, thanks. Okay, I think we've got somebody from each group. So thanks so much, everybody. I'll turn it over to Jawad for this workshop today.
All right. Thank you, Michael. So what I had in mind today is going to be a pretty intensive session. And people that want to follow along, it will be really cool. Yeah, let me just stop my notifications and I'll share my screen and go over a little bit of the plan that we're trying to do today. So basically what we will deploy first is a Kubernetes cluster. We will try to do that together. And then onto this Kubernetes cluster, we'll add a few things. We'll add ingress so that we can expose services to be consumed. So it'll be an ingress controller. Also add some metric server to this thing. And then we will add a few operators today. So first off is the cloud native PG. This will help us spin up Postgres instances onto the cluster. So this is also an operator which has its own CRDs. The other thing that we will deploy, which is an operator, is called the keycloak operator. So we will deploy keycloak itself and configure it through this operator so that it can be consumed by this CSOC portal. On top of that, we'll also deploy Argo CD. And then using Argo CD, we will deploy the Grafana stack because that's a nice to have prerequisite so that we can keep track of our logs and metrics. After we've done this and the logs are flowing, we will deploy CSOC itself into its own namespace. So we will deploy this CSOC portal, and then that'll also be exposed through the ingress controller so that we can access it through our web browser. Using the CSOC, we will deploy one or more Gen 3s onto this Kubernetes cluster, and then just using this UI. So there's a lot of ground to cover, but I'm hopeful we'll be able to get to it. So to start with, we can check out this repository. I can send the link in here if you guys don't already have it. The reason why we're checking it out is where I wrote a little script or a few scripts that can help us achieve a lot of this pretty easily, hopefully. I've tested it extensively over the last couple of weeks, but it's always fun when you need to run it on other people's infrastructure. So we can do it all together. I will show you exactly all the different steps. So first off, we'll take this and then go into a terminal. I will just delete what I had earlier and we can git clone this together. So I can take a quick break here and double check if people are following along or if it's okay for me to move on. But if you have gotten to this point where you have this repository clone, we're in a good state. And I'm gonna assume silence is good. Cool. So there is a script in here called setup minikube. So we're using minikube to set up the cluster. Now this cluster itself, it can be in AWS, it can be in Google Cloud, it can be in Azure, it can be on your laptop, it can be on any like VM provider. Hetzner is also a good one if you're trying to run an instance like this. What this means in reality is that this entire stack, you can run it for less than $100 a month in the cloud if you wanted to run a simple multi-Gen 3 environment yourself somewhere. Anyway, let's move on to the script. So the way it'll work, let me clear out this and let's go back to the script. We are going to set it up with Keycloak. So all we need to do is to execute this script and it'll guide us through the entire process. This is the wrong one. We want to be here. Okay, so I will execute this script and it'll start setting stuff up for us. What it's doing right now, it's using Minikube to set up the actual cluster. And it's using 4 CPUs and 8 gigabytes of memory, which sometimes can be a little tight, but I'm hoping this won't take down your laptop, so I'm trying to be conservative with resources. If you check the script itself, all the commands are documented in here, so you could technically set this up yourself with more or less resources. Okay, now what we're doing is we're enabling the Ingress add-on that I mentioned, and then what it's asking you to do now, I wanted to make this optional, but I wasn't able to do this in time, so it's asking for your sudo password, but it's gonna add csoc.local to your Etsy host so that for the purposes of this demo, we can access the UI of CSOC through to here without having to set up any DNS. Okay, once we've done this, it moves on, and then it's installing the Keycloak operator. Now, if we wanted to take a look in a separate shell, I have something called K9S, and this one shows you exactly what's going on. So here you see the cloud native PG operator. So this one will spin up one or more Postgres instances for you. And I will go into a little bit more detail about this because it's pretty cool. You can get a managed RDS-like experience just within a single node Kubernetes or a multi-node Kubernetes, but it's pretty powerful. Now it's deploying the Keycloak operator itself, which is also pretty cool. And I guess it's being actively worked on by the Keycloak team so that we can configure it just out of the box to work with our application. We don't have to do any manual configuration. The operator itself will help us configure everything. Now, Keycloak will consume a database. So that's where Cloud Native PG comes in, and it's deploying a database for Keycloak itself so that we can store state in there. Going back to our script here, we're waiting for the Postgres SQL cluster to come up. Yeah, are everyone able to get to this point so far? Should I take a little break? I'm happy to help if anyone's stuck at one point or if I'm going too fast. Please do stop me.
I have a question.
Yeah,
What sort of hardware are you running this on? Is this on your laptop or
just
something
my
like
Mac.
that?
Yeah, just my MacBook. So
So
here
you're running Docker and Minikube and Helm and all of that just on your MacBook Pro
just
with
on my MacBook
16.
Pro. Yeah, just a 16 gig M1 MacBook Pro. So
Okay.
yeah. Here, we're seeing the database is coming up. Most of the time will be spent on just pulling the Docker images. So the faster internet connection you have, the faster this will go. But this is just running on my MacBook with and the Minikube cluster itself, I'm only giving it 4 CPUs and 8 gigabytes of memory. So if you were to spin up this instance in the cloud, I mean, you could give it a little bit more or less, or like the same amount of CPU and memory, and you hopefully get similar types of performance. In this scripts folder, and in follow-up workshops potentially. There's also other types of Kubernetes installations. K3s by Rancher is a really, really good and lightweight one, and you can connect it out to be multiple nodes as well if you wanted to. So that's a shout out to K3s. There is some Terraform as well, but I wanted to wait for after to test it a little bit more. Although it does work. So we can see, but basically what this does is just spins up an EC2 instance for you. And I think we SSH or SSM in, and then just run whatever we're running here in an actual EC2 instance. Anyway, back to our
Jawad,
script. Oh,
how are
yeah.
you getting to the K9s dashboard? Or
Oh, this is just running as a CLI on my MacBook as well.
okay.
So K9s, we can, if you search for it on Google, here it is. There should be some installation instructions here for whatever OS you're running. Once you install it, and Minikube will set up everything for you so that the context is set, but then you can just type in K9s and you get the terminal UI, which is super nice. And you will only see pods in default namespace, but if you see up here, it shows you like how to get pods in all namespaces. It's by hitting 0 and then using colon or like yeah, I think it's colon. Then you can look at other resources as well. So you can look at deployments, you can look at secrets. Yeah, but pods is a good view to be in. And the CSOC portal itself will also have a lot of these views. So once this pod comes up, so we're waiting for the pod to be ready, we'll get to see all of these views in a web browser, hopefully as well. As I mentioned, like most of the time, it's just stuck pulling the Docker images. We probably have to put this one on a diet to make it faster, and the Gen3 ones as well. But this is normal for any containerized workflow. If we hit enter here, we can see these two containers. So there's an API and a front end for this. Yeah. We saw that CSOC itself is being installed using Helm over here. I just know that because this is a regular Helm output format. Yeah. I guess we can go in and take a look at Keycloak while it's getting ready. So there's if you've gotten to this point, you should be able to get to keycloak.local. That was also injected into your Etsy hosts as we were going through this. And that should spin up this view for you. Now it's super secure, so it's using admin as credentials. So the username is admin and the password is admin. That's just a default. In here, though, it's already set up the CSOC realm for us. So once you click in here, this is where anything related to the CSOC cluster or the CSOC portal will be managed. You can set up different identity providers. So if you wanted to do Google login, this is where you would go and just put in the client ID, client secret. And based on this URL, you would set up the redirect URL here on the Google side. Yeah, the way it works today is we are doing role-based access control. There's something called the default roles that everyone get assigned. And here we basically assign, let me see where we do super admin is the role basically that we've created. And this one is the role that you need. Our user here should have that role, and that's how we're able to do stuff. Remove this role and the user won't have access. And I'll talk a little bit more about the role-based access control that we built in. Anyway, going back here, yay, seems like it is completed. So if I did this correctly, going to csoc.local gives you this view. And if you've been following along, you hit this sign in with Keycloak, you should be able to log in with the admin user that I just mentioned. But for a real setup, you can set up like Google or other sort of identity providers for users to come in and give them the right roles, and they should be able to get in here. Okay, so this is the first screen that you will see when you have no agents deployed and no environments. And this will basically guide you to set up all the different components that this portal requires. So first off, we need to deploy an agent. Now this agent will just be deployed to this cluster itself. And I will show you how to add additional clusters as well. You can call it whatever you want, but since this is a minikube cluster, it detects that and we can name it minikube. And now it'll start deploying that agent so that it can connect back so that from this portal, we can do all sorts of Kubernetes commands using the UI or the API. If you want to take a peek behind the scenes in K9s, not annotate. There we go. Here we see that the CSOC agent was now deployed. Going back to the UI, now it prompts us to install Argo CD. Hitting this, it'll start deploying Argo CD for us. Taking a peek behind the scenes as well, we will hopefully see that the agent is basically deploying all these different components for us onto this cluster. Now we just have to wait for all of these components to become healthy. And it's doing a live check of that in this portal. This would be a good time for me to get some sip of water. Okay, so Argo CD is deployed, and we can move on to the next step. Here you can deploy the Grafana stack. I recommend just going with a lightweight stack, especially for a setup like this. It'll basically just deploy a couple of pods and not use a lot of resources, but let you maintain your logs long term. This creates an Argo CD application, which in turn deploys the Helm chart. Yeah, so now it's deploying Loki. Once that is enabled, we can enable the log collection as well.
Hey, Jawad,
Yeah.
I don't want to necessarily keep this from moving along, but when I went to Keycloak local or CSOC local, I just get a the site can't be reached.
Ooh, yeah.
And
Do
it
you want to
just
share your screen? Maybe we
spins.
can troubleshoot.
Sure. Let me see if I can do that.
Yeah.
Probably can. Maybe. Sorry.
I can stop sharing, sorry.
Oh, I see where the sharing it was below my.
Mhm.
Just share that window. But
Okay. Can we take a look at your script where you ran it and the output of it?
yeah, sure. Makes sense.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I need to.
Okay. So,
So the output
yeah.
here.
And if you ping csoc.local, do you get an IP? Yeah,
Where,
just
how do I
type in ping csoc local. Sorry, I didn't put that in the output.
in the
But
browser? Ping.
no, in the terminal. Just
Oh,
type
in the
in
terminal.
ping space csoc.local.
Ping.cstock.
Uh, space csoc.local.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it does resolve to an IP. You can control C out of that. Okay, let's go to the browser. Oh, sorry, yeah, we're gonna have to share your screen again.
Yeah, I just wasn't ready
It's
to
all
share
good. This is
everything.
good. I
So
am suspecting there's maybe like a DNS cache or something on your end. But if you go to the csoc.local tab And you can do maybe right click somewhere there and do inspect. Yeah,
Uh,
the bottom one. Yeah. And let's go to the network tab. And if you refresh, um,
just refresh the.
yeah, refresh this page. And if you can hit where it says all on the, yep, a little bit up
Oh,
there. Yep. And what if you can expand that status section there? The top one. Yeah, just, yep, like that.
oh,
Oh, hmm, interesting. And can you click it so we can look at the headers? And I guess I am mostly curious about like what IP is returning this and if like the browser is able to connect to that or not. Okay. I believe it might be a DNS issue. So if you can go into your address bar and type in, I guess it's Chrome and then, like the colon forward slash forward slash. Yeah.
Johan,
Yep.
so I did check my host H file because I had I have similar issue and it had incorrect IP address in there.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Was that you, Gordon?
Yeah, so in the host file,
Mm-hmm.
there's an incorrect IP address in there.
It's the
But
incorrect IP?
yeah,
Oh, that'll definitely do it. Can we check your terminal again, Michael? Maybe I need to check what we kubectl get no or let's take a look at what that IP should be. Can you do a kubectl get ingress and then -a? Potentially, that should give us
that
the
one.
right IP. Yeah. Uh,
And then what?
-a, so we get it in all namespaces. Capital A, sorry. Yep. Okay, so you're not getting an IP, so that'll definitely do it. I wonder why. Um, hmm. Can you don't happen to have K9s installed, do you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh no, I do actually. I do. Yeah,
Okay.
I was just looking at it. Do you want me to?
Yeah. Let's go through K9s and then see if we can troubleshoot this. So what should happen, yeah, and if you hit 0 now, okay. Interesting. It actually did not enable the ingress controller for use. That's the root cause of
Oh,
the issue here. I thought it would. Let me check my script on why it would not have enabled that for you, but it's easy enough to enable. Enable.
oh, actually, one question. Should
Mm-hmm.
there was two scripts in that repo. There was the quick start and then there was the real auth. Maybe I used the wrong one. Which was the one that we were using?
Oh, we are supposed to use setup minikube.sh. So if you rerun that one, that should potentially fix it as well. So if you go back to that folder, um, yeah, yeah, and then do dash dash keycloak. Yeah,
This
that's one.
that's the one I ran. Okay.
Let's try it again. See if we can figure out why it's not. Okay, and here you just need to put in your password so you can update the host file.
Does anybody
Okay.
else have this issue? I don't want to take up the whole time. I guess
Yeah, let
want to
me
make sure.
double check, and I can send you the commands as well to enable the ingress.
Yeah.
It should have done that, but basically what you need to do is just these two. I'll paste it somewhere um, where you can get to it. Interesting. Uh, but I believe these two commands should get you the missing components. So Minikube add-ons enable metric server and Minikube add-ons enable ingress. Okay, and then the second one should enable the ingress controller as well. And then, so this is basically what controls the network traffic into the cluster using the ingress resources in Kubernetes. So, huh. Yeah. Did anyone else get stuck up on this as well? I can double check the scripts, but this is good. I'm glad I wasn't able to just race through everything and we actually doing a hands-on.
For me, the CSOC now is running that
Mm-hmm.
pod, but it's timeout for the script. Script says it's
Oh.
timeout, so it stopped. So what shall I do next to install
Um,
the kicklock manually? Or
you can run the script again. It's idempotent, but do you mind sharing your screen as well so we can take a look?
yes, yes.
Hmm. So that might be basically it's timing out because the container images are not being pulled in time potentially. But let's take a look.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can see now the CSOC pod is running, but in the script, yes, it is time. Oh, yeah, here timeout, waiting for the, and then
Interesting.
yeah, I want to know the next step. Yeah.
Yeah. If you
Mm.
run the script again with the keycloak parameter,
Okay.
dash dash keycloak, yeah.
Uh,
Let's see, because it should be able to run multiple times and
mm.
mhm. Okay, nice. I can't read what the pod is, but okay, that's the cloud native PG controller. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yep, we need the cloud native PG operator to be able to deploy
Mm.
Keycloak. So now it's doing Keycloak operator and probably, there you go. Now your Keycloak is coming up as well. And after this, it'll probably deploy the databases as well, but you should hopefully be able to run it. In your browser, are you able to browse to csoc.local now?
Let me check.
Oh, that's cool. You're actually running on a Windows node. I was afraid that wouldn't work, but
Uh, localhost dot
no, csoc.local.
oh
That's what we added to your host file.
CSOC dot local.
Yep.
I think maybe we need to do some other things. Yeah, some port forwarding like that. Because it's
Right.
Windows WSL. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, you
Uh,
probably have to add it to like the Windows hosts file thing. But if you go to ingress in K9s, if you hit colon and type in ingress, yep. So that's the IP that we basically need to add to your host file. If you escape out of this, as long as you have an address in
uh,
there.
yes, I think I should use kube config kube file. Good
Yeah.
ingress. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This one. Yeah.
That's the
Add
IP.
to the
Yeah.
host.
Yep, for
Mm,
CSOC.local. I was
mm.
opportunistically doing that with the script, but
If it
uh,
is available directly, use IP.
yeah, try it. It won't work, but it'll give you a
Mm,
404 at least. So that's going to be a good test if you can reach Minikube.
mm. As I know, and I need to set something for the WSL to
Yeah,
let it transparency. Yeah, some work need to do. Yeah.
yeah. I can take a look as well. But it would be cool
Mm.
if you were able to connect to it. So WSL, Minikube, Ingress. Um,
Oh, which one?
Let's see, setting up Minikube, enable ingress, yeah.
It's now waiting for deployment. Oh yeah, it's pulling the images. I believe that.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Your Windows host probably doesn't know how to route to unless the same. Okay, you like okay. Oh wow.
No problem. I will try.
It yeah.
Mm,
According to a
mm,
Reddit post, you need to push like a route or something because your Windows host doesn't know how to
mm.
route to your WSL.
Yes, yes. There are some WSL configuration to make it available.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
ever did in some other machines, but I forget how to do it. I will search.
yeah. I'll maybe for next time I can try to remember or like I might have a Windows machine laying around that I need to test on. Yeah. Uh, Michael, this work for you? Are you able to see the CSOC UI now after you enabled Ingress?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
It still times out. Does show an IP address now with
Mhm.
the one command, but it doesn't. It still has an error. But I do want to make sure you can get
Okay.
to something. So I'll corner you later about
All
it.
right.
Okay.
Cool. I will move on. We will deploy the log collector. So basically what this one is doing, this is basically sitting on your cluster, collecting logs from all of these pods and then sending it to Loki so that they can be stored for long term. And then the CSOC portal itself has some integrations with Loki where you can look at um, historical logs and whatnot. Um, yeah. I should have just clicked that other button before, but at least we get to see all this. Cool. It's ready. We should be seeing this get ready soon as well, hopefully. There we go. Everything seems to be set up fine. We are ready to deploy Gen 3 now. So if you've gotten to this point, hit this button. We are seeing a new wizard, which is the Gen 3 configuration and deployment. Yeah. Here we can select what to call our release. I'm just going to keep calling it Gen 3 test. And based on what you call it, this namespace get auto-generated as well, like before. You can also use a custom namespace if you want to, but Gen 3 test for us is fine. Here's the Helm chart stores. I'm just going to use our repository, but if you have a custom Helm repository with Gen 3, you could also connect that in here. This is the global config in a React UI. You can choose to like what you want your portal route to be. We want to do the front end framework because we're doing the cutting edge. This is not a cloud environment, so we don't need a lot of these. If you have a Slack webhook URL for notifications and stuff, here's where you could put that in. Yeah, over here is where you could configure your certificate. If this was an AWS environment, here you could list all your AWS certificates, or you can put in an existing TLS secret. There is some support for Cert Manager if you wanted to use that, but for this we need a working DNS and a public IP. So I'm going to skip this, or you can just put in manual ones as well, or just nothing. But if you are at this step and if you've run the script that we run, call it gen3.local because that's already been set up in your host file using that script. Here we need to run the automatically create databases jobs, and we're using a local Postgres pod basically. If you wanted to use an external Postgres cluster, here's where you could configure that portion basically. We're using a local pod, just using the Bitnami Postgres SQL. We're not using cloud native PG for Gen 3 just yet, but that's something that I want to work towards soon as well. And I'll get back to why once this is all deployed and we get to see a little bit of the integration. Here we can see what services we want to deploy. So there are some core services that most of us are probably familiar with. We want to do the front end framework. We probably don't need ETL, but we could. Here's some workspace and workflow services. There's some medical imaging Helm charts that we have. So there's a DICOM server, OHIF viewer, and OrgThank. There's some OMOP or Odyssey services that have recently been merged into Gen 3 as Helm charts. If you want to deploy like OMOP services, you can. There's some AI native services. Right now, we only have the embedding service that you can deploy, but there are more services coming soon that you will be able to deploy from this view as well. And then some supplementary services that I didn't know how to categorize. We'll go with this. Here you can configure your Google login or any OIDC logins like before. I probably just gonna enable mock Google Auth for now. And if you have a user YAML here is where you can input that. I do still want to try to get a UI to craft this user YAML. It's just I don't dare to do that yet. It's a big task. Here's where you can configure your indexd prefix. The default one is just prefix. I'm gonna go with the default one. And yeah, this is basically the generated values YAML. It's a little daunting, but this is what that wizard basically did for us. Hitting deploy Gen 3 should start deploying these services using Helm. If you want to peek in the back end, we see all of the Gen 3 services are now being spun up with the configuration that we just made. So yay, Gen 3 has been deployed successfully, and now we just need to wait for all of these services to become healthy. Hitting this should get you to gen3.local. I didn't set up a certificate, so we're getting a warning, and this will just be like this 503 until the services are up and running. Hitting this refresh button, now you should be able to select this environment that you just deployed, and you get into this nice dashboard that shows you a quick overview of how your environment is doing. I'm going to turn on auto refresh so we get to see like how these services are progressing and being deployed. We can click on any of these and we see that, okay, this pod is initializing. We can look at the events. We see that it's pulling the image. Surprise, surprise. Yeah. Once it's up, we will be able to look at the logs and whatnot. Yeah. Here we see like all of the pods that are not associated with the services themselves. So like jobs or ad hoc pods or containers that are running on this namespace. A lot of these services are now basically waiting for the databases to be created. And if you've deployed the Gen 3 Helm charts before, you know that we have some semaphores within our secrets to let our services know that it's safe to start. So they basically will just be waiting and waiting until these database create jobs have completed. And yeah, then the services know that it's safe to start. Let me refresh this, see if any of the pods are healthy. Not yet. I think my internet connection is not the best either, but taking a peek back in here, yeah, we see that a lot of data is being pulled from the internet now to pull these. The good thing or not so good thing about Minikube is that once you delete it and start it up again, it doesn't cache any of the images. So I'm hoping you guys will, if you've gotten to this point, you will be having the exact same experience of just waiting for these images to be pulled. Yeah, while we're waiting for those images, maybe we can talk about some of these new views. I've added a little bit of a deeper integration with Argo CD just because we use Argo CD a lot. And these are the different applications that we've deployed today with Argo CD. So we can go in here. moving Michael out of this view here, and then we can like hit the sync or sync and wait, and then it'll actually start a new sync. We can see all the different resources that have been created using this. We can look at the events of this application that is being managed by Argo CD. So it's a really nice, easy way. And this works across your clusters as well. So if you have an Argo CD deployed in every one of your cluster that deploys different applications, this view will give you a quick overview of all your applications across this CSOC setup. Let's take a look. There's been some updates since last time to these views. I've tried to make them more useful. We can look here. I guess the one that did not look nice before was potentially something like the config maps and stuff. Now we get a nicer, more formatted view into config map, but also to the secret. So for example, if you wanted to look at the secret now, for full transparency, this is just a demo environment. So if there are any secrets here, that does not matter. These are auto-generated and will be disposed after this demo. But yeah, here you can see all of your secrets, and I wonder if that I didn't commit it yet. Oh, I did, yeah. There is a way to edit secrets now as well. So we all know how painful it is to edit Kubernetes secrets because they're stored in base64 encoded format. But using this view, you should be able to edit them and yeah, push like small updates. As I was building out this, I also wanted to make an integration with AWS Secrets Manager, especially for our production environments. We don't store secrets in Kubernetes. We store them in AWS Secrets Manager. So we have to edit them there and they get synced to Kubernetes. So that's something that I want to work on next to get that in here. There should also be a custom resource overview. So these are all the CRDs deployed to your cluster. Using Cloud Native PG to deploy a Postgres cluster, I stumbled upon these basically. So you can set up either a scheduled backup or an ad hoc backup using YAMLs to take backups of your Postgres SQL cluster. So I believe you can set up these scheduled backups as well to run daily and just take backups of your databases and send them off to S3 just using this operator. So that's why I want to build in more first-class support for Gen3 using this, because if you're running in an on-premise environment or non-AWS environment and don't want to, or just don't want to pay for AWS RDS because it's expensive, this could be a really good alternative. And you can run it all just on a single EC2 instance. And as long as that is up, all your Gen3 instances should be up and running as well. And if we take a look at the Keycloak here, for example, we see our Keycloak instance that we deployed earlier. That is basically protecting all of this. Should maybe be another Keycloak CRD that we use, but yeah, the Realm import. So this is how we configure the CSOC realm within Keycloak so that it just works out of the box for us to be able to authenticate. And yeah, it's pretty cool and makes it a lot easier than having to script out everything using their APIs because the operator just takes care of that for us. Anyway, going back to this view, we can see at least the front-end framework is up, so we should be able to get a response. Probably opportunistic. Let's see. Maybe the rev proxy isn't up. Yep, so the rev proxy we're still waiting for. Once the reverse proxy is up, we should be able to see a Gen3 up and running. If you wanted to deploy another Gen3 onto this cluster, or if you wanted to onboard more clusters, you can onboard more clusters here. So using this, you can basically maybe set up an AWS cluster. The only caveat is that if you set up, for example, a K3S cluster on AWS and you want to manage it through this CSOC, this one has to have a public IP. So your laptop does not have a public IP, but you can set up this. You deploy the agent from here onto this view, and as long as the agent can reach back home, you will be able to manage it through here. So you can have multiple clusters basically, and this could be, anywhere as long as it can reach back here. Anyway, if you want to deploy one more Gen3, we can go here and it's the exact same deployment. You just have to call it something else or at least deploy it in a separate namespace. We can call it Gen3 test 2. And this will probably kill my Minikube cluster, but I'm going to try it anyway. But maybe we should wait for this to be up first. Yay, we see a Gen3. Yeah. Okay, but if you wanted to deploy one more Gen3 and we go through all of this and configure it, or then doing this will create a new Gen3 for us in a separate namespace. And hopefully it's able to also reuse some of these images that were just pulled. So it should hopefully be faster to spin up than the first one. Yeah. Anyway, we can potentially go over and see if everyone else got to this point, or if you guys are stuck at any point, then I can try to help. And we can also follow up in like future working groups or workshops to see if there's a way for us to do maybe something more interesting where we set up all of this in an actual cloud. Like maybe we can do this in Azure or Google Cloud or something, and instead of just on our laptops. Yeah, I'm happy to hear you guys' thoughts. And if you get it up and running, that would be super cool if you guys have any feedback. I will be pushing out updates of these images for both the agent and whatnot. Will will receive some updates. But now when we update this one, it should show us two environments. Yay, here's the other one. I didn't change the host name on it, but here we see Gen3 test 2.
Gordon's
now,
had his hand up for a little bit.
oh, sorry, I can't see yeah, but please feel free, Gordon.
No worries. So I just have a quick question around updating the config. For example, after deployment, then you want to go back and let's say you want to go to the hostname section and maybe change the TLS certificate and stuff.
Yeah.
Like how do you go
So
back?
if you go to the deployment section now, that's what I meant, that I'm probably killing my Minikube. So this is basically just the Kubernetes API being overloaded with just those 4 CPUs. But over here, if I wanted to change it from like localhost to something else, I can go and click edit, and it will be able to basically go through the same wizard with the values that you filled in. So if we want to go in here, I want to call this Gen3 new.local, and then just go to the deploy. It will be able to do an update to the existing deployment. Right now, this is not using Argo CD to deploy Gen3 because Argo CD needs a Git repository and whatnot. That's something that I'm hoping I should be able to get. Maybe I'll try, because then we can get like a full-on production grade deployment where these secrets are created in AWS just through this UI, and we're using Argo CD to do the actual like values YAML updates and whatnot. But if you do happen to deploy with Argo CD, and which you can't do with this UI just yet, that should show up in the applications page in here. But yeah, you should be able to edit an existing deployment.
Yeah. Thanks.
For sure. Were you able to get that far, Gordon?
No, I couldn't. I have the same issues as Michael. I think the
Okay.
restriction on my PC. I don't know. I'll troubleshoot later.
Yeah. I can troubleshoot a little bit as well. And you guys are both on a Mac, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. That's all I had for today. But yeah, if you do get it up and running, do play around with it, see what you can break or yeah, any sort of feedback would be amazing. And then maybe for next time we can actually potentially set it up in an EKS cluster with or yeah, maybe something more advanced.
Something that people would bring or we would provide that or
Um, we can potentially provide a EKS cluster and then all of us, yeah, well, maybe we could do like instead of you guys being operators, like end users of this CSOC portal, where someone or you set it up once and then all of us can deploy our own Gen3 onto that cluster. Um, that would be fun,
it might
potentially.
take
We
down some
might have to check
barriers.
with security and yeah, and see where we can draw that boundary and everything, but that we could potentially do it in Google Cloud in an isolated account and just have it running for one day. I think that should be fine, and then we can tear it down. I'll check, see what we can do.
Jawad, I often ask this, but I'll ask it again. What's the roadmap here, I guess, for
For us internally,
yeah.
we've gone through a security review. Security has blessed this. They do want to test it out. So our security team are trying to set up a zero trust and mutual TLS architecture. And this will probably be used for that internally. And right now, it's deployed behind our VPN, but we want to try it out with the new zero trust architecture so we don't have to run a separate VPN cluster. Potentially next week-ish, I'm going to start asking more people to use it. We're going to use it for our dev QA and the unfunded environments, basically, where people can go in and start using this to, trigger ETL jobs, user sync jobs, and just regular housekeeping of Gen3. Um, and then slowly but surely we'll onboard more of our real production clusters on here as well. Um, yeah, I do like me personally. I want to try out like part of this agent server architecture in an experiment where if we have any GPUs running on-prem or something where we can connect those to the cloud because it does uh, transcend any need for firewall openings or something because the agent is the one that initiates the connection. It just needs to have internet access and then it can do commands that it gets from the main one. Maybe even if you don't do it for the CSOC or for Gen3, that's something that I want to do because I got a new Mac M5 and being able to utilize that GPU in a real environment would be kind of cool without exposing it to the internet. So that's something that I'm gonna experiment with, see if that's possible. Technically, it should be. Anyway, that was what I had.
Awesome. I put a link for our shared Slack channel if anybody gets it up or has any questions, maybe that's a good place to ask. Um, yeah, if you have any trouble accessing it, let me know. So it sounds like tentatively we might try to do this again with a cloud environment. Um, but if anybody has any other ideas to add to the agenda before next month, let me know.
Yeah.
All right,
Um,
anybody? Oh, go ahead, Juan.
I just saw Alan's message, and that reminded me that this single cluster that we just set up could also be used as the seed cluster or the main cluster for Crow. So if you get this up and running, Alan, then you can use this for Crow to spin up like the subsequent clusters in the cloud, like you guys are doing. And then maybe we can build that in somehow to this portal. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely interested. And I would be very, very interested in a subsequent session where we do this in EKS.
Yeah. Cool. That would be cool. I'll see what we can manage.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everyone. We'll be in touch. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.